the meaning of Zion that the author is going to bring to your attention on page 154 of our textbook. Our textbook, of course, continues to be The Devil's Pulpit. The author is the Reverend Robert Taylor. All right, on page 158, we'll learn about Zion. And isn't it interesting that my school's name is Zion Law School? Zion Law School. All right, page 158. Let's pick it up where we left off. Before we do that, welcome to the free astrotheology course. I am Dr. Yasapa. It's a pleasure to have you here with me. Let's make it do what it do. Page 158, we'll begin at the second paragraph. And does it become to us then to fling stones at the pretended ignorance of our heathen ancestors, and to assure ourselves that none other than the grossest litholatry could have been intended by those who addressed their devotions to the immortal statuary of a Phidias or Praxiteles, I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, the Popian Venus, or the Olympian Jove, Jove, that's the Tetragrammaton. All of the Parian marble, and of such matchless execution. See, precise, beautiful, handcrafted idols. Idols. In violation, of course, of what? The commandments, the Most High's commandments, okay? Exodus 20, 1 through 3 or 1 through 4. Okay? And the matchless execution, see, the exquisite artistry, craftsmanship, as if the design of them, that is, as if the design of these idols had been to present a perpetual, that means forever, admonition to the world. How clever, how infinitely clever man may become when man gives his mind, when man gives his attention to the arts and sciences. And what a fool when man gives his mind, when man gives his attention, when man puts his thoughts or thinks about thoughts having to do with religion. And what a fool religion makes of a man. That should be clear, right? Because science is based, or real science is based in nature. What you can experience with your senses and your observations and your logical, critical thinking, analytical thinking mind. Whereas religion is nothing but dogma. A bunch of beliefs that most likely and very often have absolutely nothing to do with nature. All right, so in religion, you're going against the grain. You're going against the current. If you're harmonic with nature, you're going with the flow of the universe. All right? Oh, but cry my gospel. Oh, but cry my gospel innocence. See, you're innocent, you're naive in a good way if you don't realize that you've been fooled. But if you're the fooler, you're treacherous. scumbag. Okay? But cry my gospel innocence. The stone, y'all listen, the stone spoken of in Scripture does not mean a stone. No, it does not. The stone spoken of in Scripture, y'all, does not mean a physical stone. And neither does the man spoken of in the gospel mean a man. Wow. So the man in the gospel is not a man. Well, who are the main men? JC, the Christ figure, and the 12 apostles, right? Those are the main characters. So they are not men. Well, what the heck are they? And what is the stone? Okay, so here's what the author says, page 158. And no such man as Jesus Christ, or such men as any of his 12 apostles, ever existed. So according to the author, they never existed. That means they have to be what? Mythological beings. They never had a physical body. Never walked on earth, never breathed not one single breath of air. They have no biography, no history. Fairy tales, y'all got it? Now let's continue. Nor has their historical existence ever been pretended. In other words, what he said right here, the only people who says that Christ and his 12 apostles actually lived. Okay? So the only people pretending that Jesus Christ and the 12 apostles actually live, actually have a biography, are actually historical. That's what he said. Nor has their historical existence ever been pretended, but by those whose object is to keep mankind in ignorance. So only those people whose object is to keep mankind in ignorance. Now, when you come across mankind, I want you to, now let me rephrase that. I suggest you correlate that with the created creature in Genesis chapter 1. The created creature in Genesis chapter 1, that is a different creation story. And it is a different being that was created than in Genesis chapter 2. A different man. That was a kind of man that was created in Genesis chapter 1. Okay, that was created, as in it did not exist prior to that time. Okay, y'all? A different type of man. So it's a kind of man. And it turns out to be that that's Han Uman. Han Uman. Turns out to be that that's a hybrid. That's a colorable man. Okay, having the appearance of a man, but not having the substance of a man. Okay, so the colored man is a colorable man, as in color of law, y'all. Okay, so the hybrid is the monster that we see in a Black's Law dictionary or another. I don't remember. I think I have it in my community post. But y'all can check a law dictionary. Look up human. See hue as in color. Man. Hue man. Colored man or colorable man. Hue man. Han Uman. Take out the AN from Han Uman and you get human. Colorable man. Look that up in a law dictionary, look up human in a law dictionary, you will see monster as its definition. Monster. A human is a monster that cannot inherit land, although born from a woman. Correlate that to the Yaqub story. Okay? And also the story about Esau and Jacob. Okay? Esau, although born from the same womb of his brother, it's a different nation. That means a different inheritance, different manner of people. Han Uman, although born from the womb of a Moabite woman, its masculine aspect, or the male, actually I should say male, the male aspect came from a chimpanzee. Okay? So therefore it's a hybrid. Clear? It's a hybrid. From what I understand, the research for that genetic engineering project was done in the Yucatan, and the experimentation was done in Argentina. But y'all have to follow this up because I don't have all the details on that, okay? Follow that up with your on your own. And there was some work done. I don't know if it was work or the last staging ground that was done in the Falkland Islands. Okay, and Patmos has something to do with that. But y'all have to get those details yourself. But I give you that because that's what I know. And if you want to follow that up more, you can follow it up more. All right? So anyway, man in Genesis chapter 2 is man. Thought made manifest from the soil. And man, there never was a time when man was not. So those are two different beings in Genesis chapter 1 and Genesis chapter 2. Genesis chapter 2 is land made manifest. And it's a well-established principle in law. It is a principle or natural law that man is the substance and subject matter of the law. Period. Okay? So make the distinction. You should be able to, or you should be aware of these whenever you come across mankind or human, or even Han Uman. You can relate this also to the Neanderthal, also to the caveman, right? Also to the troglodyte or the troglodyte niggers, all right? The cave dwellers, okay? Y'all can easily get this information if you follow up those key words. Now let's continue. And who have justly, nor has there any historical evidence ever been pretended, but by those whose object is to keep mankind, and I would replace mankind with Moors, whose object is to keep the Moors in ignorance. Now when I say Moors, I'm speaking of Genesis chapter 2 verse 7. All men and women who are sprung from the soil, who are autochthonous to the land, okay? The rightful heirs. That's who I'm speaking about. Those men and women who are not hybrid. Okay? Now let's continue. Where am I? So those whose object it is to keep the Moors in ignorance. So this would be what? The religious community. All of them. And the nation states who come under the ownership and the authority of the Catholic Church through the Holy See, the Siskiyou Trust, Unum Sanctum, right, y'all, Doctrine of the Discovery, Inter-Caetera, etc. Okay, etc. Manifest Destiny in North America. So the secret relationship between religion and corporate nation states. All right? Okay? Y'all go back and review the secret treaty of Verona. Look at how the Pope's role is to get the people to submit to the political authorities or to the corporate nation states. Okay, y'all? That's their role. And then in exchange for that, the political nation states take care of the Catholic Church, which would include all of the religions, because they created all of the religions. At least those that, well, let me just say all, because I know in Southeast Asia, they also have influence, okay? And that's all I can say, because I'm not in a country where they have freedom of speech, okay? So let me leave it at that. All right, so now let's continue. So those who want to keep the Moors in ignorance, that would be the religions, the corporate nation states who are under the control of the Catholic Church. The evidence of that, again, is Unum Sanctum, Doctrine of Discovery, etc. All of those documents that I just mentioned. And who have justly that woe denounced against them. In other words, there is a woe denounced against them. Someone spoke a woe against the lawyers, right? These are the politicians, the lawyers, corporate nation states, and the religions, the priestly class, or the priest craft. The priest craft would include your local elder, your local ministerial servant, your local officer, captain, general, pastor, reverend, imam, rabbi, etc. That's the priestcraft. Craft. Okay? Let me go back. Let me find my place here. So, priestcraft has a woe spoken against them, and justifiably so. Okay, now let's go back. And who have justly that woe denounced against them by the speaker of the gospel, who was in his day what I am called in my day. So that main speaker of the gospel was called a byword, just like the author of this book was called a byword. The author of this book was called a chaplain or preacher of the devil for exposing what the Gospels actually mean, not based upon a set of doctrines, but he gave the whole game away. He spilled the beans. He gave you the code. So now anybody who wants to, if you give your time and attention, you can crack the code because he gives it to you. Etymology, philology, astronomy, astrology, which is science, and then history. So he tells you what everything means from those sciences. And he shows you how to work it out, which is what I've been passing on to you as I read this book. Okay? As I read it and comment. All right? So they called him a preacher, a chaplain of the devil, to turn the people away, to make people afraid of him, to destroy his reputation and his ability to earn a living. All right? And then they took him to court, had him locked up twice. Now let's continue. All right? So what did they call him? The author? He says, what I am called in my day, is the devil's chaplain, the devil's preacher. And who said to the chief priest and lawyers what I say to them? So Jesus said to the chief priests and the lawyers, he said, woe unto you hypocrites, for ye have taken away the key of knowledge. Woe to you hypocrites, for you have taken away the key of knowledge. So what's the key of knowledge, y'all? What is the key of knowledge? That's the issue. Okay, so the lawyers are now the Knights Templars. The lawyers are running government, okay, which are corporations. The lawyers are running the commercial corporations, like, for example, Target, Walmart, right? They're running the de facto government. They're running the financial institutions, right? They run everything. The lawyers. They run the de facto judicial system, the executive office, the legislative office or branches. Lawyers run everything now. But Jesus said, woe unto you hypocrites, for ye have taken away the key of knowledge. Now, y'all need to understand, the lawyers took away the keys of knowledge. So how is it that you could possibly have the key of knowledge in your church, in your assembly, or in your camp? Jesus said that they took it away. But that's just a side point. Notice what he continues. You enter not in yourselves. So the priestcraft doesn't enter in, and them that were entering in, ye hinder. And them that were entering in, you hinder. So in other words, those people, had they been left alone, had they been uninfluenced by religion, had some religious teacher not started teaching them the fairy tales, not started casting spells on them, they had a chance to observe and see that they need to live consistently with nature. And having come to that conclusion and living consistently with nature, they would have at the same time been keeping the Most High's commandments. Y'all got it? Clear? The essence of natural law is not to harm yourself or anyone else. That's the essence of it. Okay? Honor. Being honorable at all times and at all costs. But by the time the religious people get to them and put the morality, the moral codes, and the moral ethics into their heads, well, now they're finished. Because now they're in a belief system. Okay? And what's natural, they're taught, is evil. I'll tell y'all something that really blew me away. I have a friend who's very educated, has a terminal degree, terminal PhD. Very intelligent, very sharp. But this friend of mine, was afraid to go into a forest or the woods, not because of the animals, but afraid to go to the forest and pick some herbs. Because my friend thought that the herbs might hurt her. might poison her. But this same person will go into a drugstore or into a grocery store, pick anything off the shelf, eat it, or take the over-the-counter molecule, prescription med, you know, the thing that they gave out, forced a lot of people into, tricked a lot of people in, take that and not think twice. Or they have faith that they've been told the truth. Y'all see how twisted that reasoning is? A very educated person. All right? A very educated person. Anyway, let's continue. So that quote comes from Luke chapter 11, y'all. Luke chapter 11. The lawyers took away the key of knowledge. Luke chapter 11. With that key of knowledge, I now present to you in the moral certainty that by Zion, Z-I-O-N, that by Zion was never meant any place on earth. Y'all got that? That by Zion was never meant any place on earth. Zion is not a place on earth, according to the author. But now the author is going to tell us what Zion is. But the great circle of the starry heavens, the great circle of the starry heavens, that's the Maserat, the Zoad, the Zodiac. Y'all know the belt, the old path, with the 12 zodiac signs. With that key of knowledge that was taken away from the people by the lawyers. The Reverend Robert Taylor, who himself admits to have been a high-level Freemason, who had in his possession one of 3 rare documents, according to Masonry, that had a lot of the mysteries outlined in it. He had one of the 3. And the top 2 people during his day in Masonry had the other copies. All right? So the Reverend Robert Taylor had the key of knowledge. He had it. And he's sharing it with us now. Okay? To begin, Zion is not a place on earth. With that key, I present you now in the moral certainty that by Zion, Z-I-O-N, was never meant any place on earth but the great circle of the starry heavens. That's nature. That's astronomy, astrology. The zodiac is Zion. The zodiac is Zion, is the Maserat, is the Zoad. The stone laid for a foundation in that Zion. The stone laid for a foundation in that Zion, in the Maserat, in the Zoad. The stone laid in the zodiac in Zion, the sure foundation, is the first sign of the zodiac. Y'all got that? Let's go back to the verse where this comes from. In Isaiah chapter 28, go back to page 157, scholars. Page 157. Here it reads, and hence, as you find Jesus in the Gospels, calling Peter a stone, you will find Peter in the epistle. In the epistle in the New Testament, returning the compliment, calling Jesus a stone. And the drollest kind of a stone that ever was in the world, quote, a living stone. Jesus is the living stone, unto whom coming. Jesus is the living stone, unto whom coming, end quote. The Son is Jesus. The S-U-N, Son, God's S-U-N, Son, is Jesus. Jesus is the S-O-N, Son. Jesus is God's Son, S-O-N. The Son of God, the S-U-N, Son of God, and the S-O-N, Son of God. Jesus is the stone of the Zodiac. Y'all following? The stone of the Zodiac. Let's continue. He says, quote, as unto a living stone, disallowed indeed of men, but chosen of God, chosen of Zeus, chosen of Jupiter, chosen of Jupiter, chosen of Zeus, chosen of Zeus, end quote. Oh, no, not end quote, and precious, end quote. And this is an accomplishment of that extraordinary prophecy. So the prophecy was fulfilled in the 28th of Isaiah. Quote, thus saith the Lord God, Zeus, Jupiter, Jupiter Amun, Odin, Woden, the canine stars, the magi, the magicians, the master. Quote, behold, I lay in Zion, behold, I lay in the Zodiac, behold, I lay in the Maserat, the Zoad, behold, I lay in Zion for a foundation, a stone, a tried stone. Behold, I lay in the Zodiac a foundation stone, y'all. So what's the purpose of a foundation stone? What is the purpose of a foundation stone? Behold, I lay in Zion, I lay in the Zodiac, in the Maserat, for a foundation, a stone. Behold, I lay in the Zodiac, in Zion, a foundation stone, a tried stone. Jesus was tried. A precious cornerstone. A precious cornerstone. Not a chief cornerstone in this case, not a chief cornerstone, but a precious cornerstone. A sure foundation. And he that believeth shall not make haste. Now haste, y'all, is time, right? Haste is related to time, or making haste is related to time. Which for any explication that any of my reverend brother can give, and saying, the honor of the Lord God, the honor of the Lord Zeus, Jupiter Amun, Amen, Amin, who you know has a right to say what he pleases, etc., etc., etc. Let's move down back to where we were. Bottom of paragraph, bottom of page 158, last paragraph, the bottom. With that key of knowledge, I now present to you in the moral character that by Zion, that by the Zodiac, was never meant any place on earth, but the great circle of the starry heavens, the Zodiac, the Mazzaroth, as the stone laid for a foundation in that Zion, for a stone laid for a foundation in the Zodiac, in the Mazzaroth, the sure foundation is the foundation stone is that first of the signs of the Zodiac. Well, how do we know which is the sign of the Zodiac that he's talking about, right? But it does make sense, it is logical, that the foundation stone is the first sign of the Zodiac. That makes absolute sense, right? You lay the first stone, which is the foundation stone, and it has to be set perfectly, otherwise the whole building will be off, right? So how do we know which is the first Zodiac sign, which is the foundation stone? Oh, well, let's continue. From which the whole vaulty arc of the heavens takes its spring. Y'all got that? So the whole vaulty arc of the heavens, that would be what? The whole belt, the whole Zodiac. Just like when you build a building, that foundation stone has to be laid perfect. Otherwise, the whole building will be off. That first Zodiac sign has to be in the perfect position. Otherwise, the whole belt, the whole Mazzaroth, the whole ancient path, the whole old path, the whole zodiacal belt will be off. Okay? From which that vaulty arc, the arc goes like this, right? The arc is going north. The arc is not upside down, right? Going south. The arc is going north until it reaches its height, its climax, and then it goes down. Right, y'all? So just from that, we can see, or at least in my mind, I'm thinking that vaulty arc is what? The kingdom of the heavens. Those 7 zodiac signs. Those 7 zodiac signs, right? From March to September. The kingdom of the heavens. But is that the beginning? Is that the foundation stone? Is Aries the foundation stone? No. No. Let's continue. Let's continue. What do we see here? It says, from which the whole vaulty arc of the heavens takes its spring. Now, what can we say here? At the winter solstice, what happens? December 21, 22, the sun stops moving southward and it moves horizontally. It is not casting a shadow on the sundial. There's no shadow cast on the sundial for a full 3 days. So at the very end of December 24th at 12 midnight, which is the beginning of December 25th, the sun cast a full 1 degree shadow on the sundial. Okay, y'all? And now the sun, that indicates that the sun has changed directions and is now springing, y'all hear that? Springing, ascending northward. The sun springs northward exactly at the first moment of December 25th. Note the word uses. Note the word uses. As the stone laid for a foundation in that Zion, in that zodiac, the sure foundation is the sure foundation, the cornerstone is that first of the signs of the zodiac, the first sign of the zodiac, from which, so we're counting, from which the whole vaulty arc of the heavens take its spring. So we're looking at what? December 25th, the sun springs northward. for the first time since it started to descend southward from the summer solstice. So now, what's the first sign coming after December? Aquarius. The first sign coming after December or after Capricorn is Aquarius. Okay? Now, let's continue. Is that first sign of the zodiac from which the whole vaulty arch of the heavens takes its spring. Spring, we're on page 159, which the sun enters in the month of January. Y'all got that? Which the sun enters in the month of January. The sun enters the vaulty arc of the heavens in January. The sun is what? Springing northward. In March 19, well, let's just say March 21, 22. Keep it consistent. March 21, 22 is the beginning of spring. That's the vernal equinox. Okay? That's springtime. All right? Now, next paragraph, page 159, scholars. Quote, unquote. And he that believeth. He that believeth, that is, or which means, or that is to say, he who understandeth the science hidden under this allegory. What allegory? The allegory of the sun moving through each of the zodiac signs every year. And that at December 25th, the sun springs northward. The sun springs northward, moving towards springtime. Okay, and in March, the sun is now in the kingdom of the heavens, the summer months, all the way until September, when the sun in November and December is wintertime, or hell. This is the allegorical story, the kingdom of the heavens and hell. The constant battle between good and evil, light and darkness. All right? The mythological stories, the solar deities, the personifications of the sun, the personifications of the constellations, religion. So for those of us who understands the science of the gospel fairy tales, the science, the natural sciences, the natural science of astronomy, astrology, the hermetic laws, the mind sciences, see, the sciences concerning consciousness, the science concerning commerce, not a morality or ethical system, not a belief system. And he that believeth, quote unquote, that is, he who understands the science hidden under this allegory, the allegory of the Gospels, that they are a remix of natural phenomena. Okay? The annual course of the sun through each of the constellations and all of the mythology associated with that. So as to know, listen y'all, so as to know the bearings and positions of this first of the constellations. The first of the constellations is what, y'all? The sure foundation. It is the cornerstone. He will not make haste. He will not make haste That is, which means he will become an accurate chronologer and will be able to keep his account of time with the accuracy of an almanac. What kind of almanac? A farmer's almanac. Through the whole acceptable year of the Lord. Y'all got that, y'all? Well, you need to be able to keep time in order to not just survive. Remember, the orientation is the northern hemisphere. So you need to know when spring is coming. And you need to know what to do in spring. You need to know what kind of seeds to plant in which kinds of soil. And what type of sunlight. Direct sunlight, indirect sunlight, shade, right? Or no sunlight. You need to know what to do in the summertime. You need to know how to irrigate, how to till the soil. You need to know all these things about farming. And then in the harvest, you need to know how to recognize that the harvest is here and what to do. How to collect and store your harvest. So you need to be a good chronologer of time. And sadly, this skill our people have lost. For some of us, probably most of us, it was taken away from us because our land was stolen from us. Okay, or our ancestors were executed, lynched, okay, terminated, exterminated to steal their land. And we were forced to go into big cities. And now, what's the situation? Farming is done mainly by industrial farmers. That knowledge has been lost to us. And look at the different calendars, y'all. Look at the different calendars. Why are there so many different calendars? So that we would not be what? Expert or accurate chronologers. Expert timekeepers. Knowing what to do and when. Okay? Harmonic with nature. So that has been taken away from us. As the astrologue in the New Testament rebukes his hearers, that's Jesus, y'all, is the astrologue. The astro timekeeper. The astrologer who's keeping a log. In the New Testament rebukes his hearers for their stupidity. Quote, a wicked and adulterous generation. You stupid idiots. Quote unquote, okay? A wicked and adulterous generation. Quote unquote. That is going ad altera, looking, notice this, y'all. This is what it means. This is what it means. Now remember, we're talking about the Maserat, the Zodiac, Zion. Jesus rebukes those idiots, quote unquote, a wicked and adulterous generation. Why? Because they are looking to the stars that lie without or outside of the band of the Zodiac. They're looking to stars outside of the Zodiac. They're looking to constellations outside of the Zodiac, quote unquote. Seek it for a sign from heaven, and there shall be no sign given them but the sign of the prophet. All right, y'all? That is the foreteller of future events, the prophet Jonah. Now, y'all should remember that Jonah is Aquarius, right? Aquarius is pouring water from his urn or jar into the mouth of the big fish in the southern part or the southern hemisphere of space. And then that big fish is Formaldehyde, who is the whale or the big fish that swallowed Jonah. Clear? So let me go back and read the verse again. Uh, where am I? Oh, a wicked and adulterous generation seeketh for a sign from heaven, and there shall be no sign given them but the sign of the prophet, that is the foreteller of future events. Remember, Janus is looking to the future and also the past. Janus, January, the god of January. All right? All right, but no sign shall be given it, but the sign of the prophet, that is the foreteller of future events, the prophet Jonah, that is Aquarius, the water bearer. Aquarius, the water bearer. Because if you don't understand that Aquarius, the water bearer, is the first sign or the cornerstone of the zodiac, meaning that from December 25th, Capricorn, the sun changes direction and starts to spring north. Okay? It starts springing northward. And then in January, the first or the next zodiac sign is Aquarius. So Aquarius is the first zodiac sign where the sun is springing northward. So Aquarius is the sure foundation. Aquarius is the cornerstone of the Mazzaroth. Y'all got it? Of the zodiac. Is it clear? All of it is based on the ascension northward from December 25th. Okay? The sun is ascending northward, which means what? We're moving into those months where the summer dominates. Okay, where the sun dominates, rather. The days are getting longer. All right, y'all. I like that. Now let's continue. Now this is important because if you don't understand that, you are too stupid ever to make any proficiency in astronomy. But understanding why Aquarius is the cornerstone. Understanding that the Gospels are a remix of celestial phenomena. But understanding that, you will soon be able to decipher all the rest. And thus, hold on, y'all. And thus, now this part I like. This part that we're going to get to now, I searched for years and years and years. And then I found it here. Okay? Page 159. The author will now tell us which apostles represent which zodiac sign. Okay, so let's begin. Number 1. January is St. Peter. Aquarius. February is St. Judas Iscariot. February is St. Judas Iscariot, the fishes. That fellow betrayed his master and lost the day. As St. Peter, in the Acts of the Apostles, explains expressly, quote unquote, that he might go to his own place. Now, February has 28 days. The other months have 30 and 31 days. Okay? In the current calendar, the leap year, I think February has 29 days. But y'all check it. March. Also, take note too, this idea that Judas Iscariot betrayed his master, and Judas is Pisces, the fish, or the fishes, the two fish, that's what? Deceit, intentional deceit and deception. Fraud. But yet, Christianity represents itself as two fishes. Jesus and the apostles, well, the apostles were fishermen, right? And Jesus spoke many allegories about fish. The fish allegories are prominent in Scripture. Jesus fed the people with 2 loaves. Was it 2 loaves and 5 fish? Okay, y'all? Isn't that interesting? Judas Iscariot, the betrayer. 3, March is St. Andrew, the brother of Peter, because formerly the year was reckoned to begin in March. Now this is very interesting. This book was written in 1831. I'm sorry, the lecture was given in 1831. At what point, in what year, y'all, was January made the beginning of the year? And then we need to correlate that with, in what year was Jesus said to be a man? I think it's somewhere around 325 AD according to their story. According to their story. Okay? March is St. Andrew, the brother of Peter, because formerly the year was reckoned in March. So at what year was the year, was the new year no longer reckoned in March? What year was that? I'll tell y'all why that's significant to me. Because if that was in the Middle Ages, that suggests that the Gospels were written in the Middle Ages. Y'all heard me? Okay, now let's continue. And therefore, equal honor is due to them both. Okay, equal honor is due to the beginning of the year being January and March. So we must honor, according to the text here, what the author is saying. January receives as much honor as the beginning of the year as does March. Okay, but we also have to keep in mind that March is the covenant of labor. March is the covenant of labor. Okay, y'all, so we have to be aware of that. So at what point did the beginning of the year stop being reckoned in the harvest, in the covenant of grace? What year did that stop? When was it shifted to springtime, to March? Okay, and then when was it shifted to January? And then why for each one? Y'all follow me? And Andrew is universally distinguished by his standing before a saltire cross. A saltire cross is like this, y'all. Remember, we went over in my class in the 506 Curses course every Saturday at 10 a.m. This is the saltire cross, not like this, okay? We went over the meaning of the saltire cross and how the saltire cross is used to measure the ecliptic, the apparent angle of the sun, okay? Which is done at 12 o'clock in the afternoon when the sun is at its zenith. So Peter is distinguished by his standing before a saltire cross. The cross like the letter X, y'all see the cross like the letter X, which is a gynometer, is used to measure the angle of the sun, the angle of the ecliptic. These days they say it's 23.5 degrees, okay, or less. Or exact measure of the angle which the sun, the sun sun, makes in crossing the equator, as he, that is the sun sun, does in the month of March. Okay, in the month of March. Okay? 4. April is Matthew, the Taurus or bull of the Zodiac. So Matthew is the bull or Baal. Taurus. April is Matthew, the Taurus or bull of the Zodiac, or bull of Zion, Z-I-O-N. As you see all representations of Saint Matthew with a bull's head at his feet. So the Apostle Matthew always has a bull's head at his feet. Okay, y'all? All right? Okay. Let's see, what else? I lost my spot. Oh. Okay, 5. May is John, the disciple which Jesus loved. May is John, the disciple which Jesus loved. 6. June is Thomas or Didymus, directly rising out of the twins, Gemini. Yet himself a crabbed sort of fellow, that toward the last half of mind to go backward. Let me read that again. Yet himself a crab sort of fellow, that towards the last had half a mind to go backwards. That's Thomas, the doubting Thomas. Remember, Thomas means Didymus, was twins, okay? 7. July is James the Greater. August is Judas, the brother of James. September is James the Less, surnamed Oblia the Just, holding Libra, the balance of justice. October is Nathaniel, whom Christ saw under the fig tree, gathering in the last remaining fruits of the year, and was called by Philip. So I wonder why that is, y'all. 11. November was Philip, whose very name signifies lover of a horse, so Sagittarius, right? So that's clear. That's clear why Philip is November. As you see his characteristic in the Sagittarius of the Zodiac, who is always represented as half a man and half a horse, or so passionately attached to the sports of the field. So you do sports of the field, or play sports of the field on a horse, right? Or with the horse, somehow. As always, to be on horseback. And you have this curious definition of John chapter 1, verse 44, quote, "Now Philip was of Bethsaida," end quote. Bethsaida literally signifying the house of hunters. So they're hunting on horses. And finally, 12, y'all, 12, December is Simon the Canaanite. Simon the Canaanite. All right, Simon the Canaanite. All right, Simon the Canaanite. Moors. A family of the Moors. All right, y'all. Thanks for supporting my work. Thanks for showing up for this presentation. Y'all share it, like it. Thanks for buying my books, subscribing to my classes. Everybody's welcome to come to class on Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The link to 506 The Curses course is in the description area of the video. The link to my streaming course, which is 101 Ancient Ibaryath, is also in the description area of the video. The link to our textbook, The Devil's Pulpit, the free PDF, is in the description area of the video, as well as links to many of the books that I have written on Ancient Ibaryath. They're all in the description area of the video. So our next chapter is Judas Iscariot. Judas Iscariot, vindicated. All right, so I see y'all in about 12 to 24 hours. Islam to all the and Shalom.